President Trump last night lay out the holes that he sees in the whole voting system. I'll tell you, you didn't watch it here on Coastal ABC because ABC chose not to carry it, and you didn't watch it on NBC because NBC had made the same decision. We're not going to carry it. CBS, to its credit, carried it. This was the president remarking on that.
In a rare move, NBC and ABC Fake News have both said that they would not cover this speech. They knew what it was about because of the fact that they don't like the topic, because they know how corrupt our system is and they don't want to reveal it. They and others in the media are part of a plot. They want to continue this fraud for whatever reason. They want to keep it going. They want to protect the radical left. They can't have a great country, and that's true. You can't have a great country without free and fair elections. Fraud like this should mean a revocation of their licenses. They use our public multi-billion-dollar in value airways for absolutely no money. They pay nothing.
Okay, NBC and ABC are networks. The networks are not licensed. They own stations. They privately own individual stations that are licensed. And there may be a move by the FCC to go after them, not just because of what happened last night, but because of other things, other alleged infractions and other things that Donald Trump doesn't like them for. By the way, mistake for NBC and ABC not to carry it. The president's the president. He made news last night. These are new allegations. This is not the same old tired Donald Trump griping about rigged elections. These are new allegations having to do with the Chinese getting a hold of 220 million voting records. Maybe your record, maybe my record. Why do the Chinese want them? They either stole them, hacked them, or bought them, says the president yesterday. Why?
Compounding the travesty, the second set of documents we are releasing reveals that members of the deep state, very, very famous group of people, in many cases, in our intelligence agency work to actively suppress and downplay information about the extent of China's sinister election meddling, covering it up from both the president and the American people like nobody thought was possible. U.S. spy agencies began learning about the compromise of voter registration files in 2020 when they discovered that tens of millions of voter data, think of that, tens of millions of voters' data in 18 states have been bought, stolen, or hacked by China. Yet those responsible for sounding the alarm instead kept the information secret and hidden. They did not disclose to me as president or to anyone else, and to the best of our knowledge, they did not inform Congress. In fact, all they kept saying is, this is the most secure election in the history of our country, a standard, very pat line that was divvied out to say.
Well, listen, whether you want to vet him, see if he's right or wrong, he still made news last night. That was news. ABC should have covered it. NBC should have covered it. CBS did the right thing. All right, they dumped out 5 minutes after he made that crack about the licenses, and they joined him a few seconds late, but at least CBS covered it. CNN, also a no-show, wouldn't cover it. President going on to say that he has uncovered at least 250,000 registered voters who are non-citizens. Why?
Finally, to reveal just how vulnerable our elections continue to be, we are releasing the results of a stunning investigation by the Department of Homeland Security. According to the DHS review, state voter rolls and public records, they identified approximately 278,000 non-citizens who are registered to vote in federal elections. Since Democrat states refuse to share their voter files, the real number is actually much higher than that. Yet, even this limited analysis found more than 250,000 foreigners illegally registered to vote. Put together, these disclosures reveal an election system so broken and so vulnerable that no one can possibly defend it. It is not defensible.
Well, Rhode Island Secretary of State can certainly defend it. I had him on just a couple of days ago. Greg Amore. Where are the illegals, Gene? Show me. Show me any non-citizen who voted in Rhode Island. He has sent you a letter now. If you allow a non-citizen to vote, I'm going to lock you up. You say that's bullying me. You're not going to stand for it?
It's unprecedented.
Okay.
And it's just a reminder. It's to sow doubt around this election cycle.
Yeah.
That's the narrative, right? And here's the thing, Gene. Where's the proof? I mean, do you know of evidence of non-citizens voting? Have you read anything about non-citizens voting? I mean, this is what the president says. If I were to accuse you of a crime today without evidence, should the state police investigate that? That's what we're talking about here.
Do I know of any? No, I don't. I'm
one does.
not asking for people.
The Heritage,
I go to vote, mind my own business.
The Heritage
I don't
Foundation,
know that.
which is a right-wing think tank, they have found no evidence. The state of Texas submitted their entire voter list to the alien verification system, 18.5 million, less than 200 potential non-citizen voters, and then that was too high.
Okay, that's the Secretary of State Greg Amore on a couple of days ago with me. Mr. Secretary, now that you've heard Donald Trump's remarks last night, when's your news conference today? To either refute the stuff about the Chinese, by the way, he says deep state actors, and it sounds like he's suggesting some secretaries of state in certain states knew about this but kept the information from the president. And what about the 250,000 non-citizens registered to vote? And what about the suggestions? He insists that some non-citizens are in fact voting. Where's your news conference today, Mr. Secretary? Want to get the other side. All right, in the meantime, there's a little more now, just one more. Vic Mellor is a Republican running for Congress 2nd District. He says he has evidence of voter fraud in Rhode Island.
So you can just go to the ICE paperwork. We pulled up 38 people that are on ICE paperwork that are on the voter rolls in Rhode Island. I have the paperwork where 3 dead people have voted. I have all this, and that's just in CD2, because that's where I bought the extensive, all the information, everything else. So right now, we're pulling up the whole state and bringing in more. And the reason there's only 3 dead people that voted, because when you go to SSDI through the federal government, they stopped supplying it in 2013. So there's 12 more years of dead people that are on our voter rolls that we don't know about. This is real. This is all real. They're just hiding it.
Only 3, Vic, because what? You only counted the graves, not the crypts, and not in the mausoleum. All right, listen, we'll see if Secretary Maury wants to pick up the phone and say, show me the evidence. Tell me what you're talking about. I already asked him if he wants to talk to State Representative Enrique Sanchez on his tweet that he's pushing mail ballots for David Morales in Providence. Quote, pushing hundreds of mail ballots. Secretary of State didn't seem inclined to do this. Like a lot of other things to do, Gene, than run after the tweets of politicians, whether they're Democrats or Republicans.